Good day, everyone. We will discuss about troubleshooting query or command timeout in this video. Let's get started. I'm going to use database JBS Wiki for this demo. I'll be creating this particular stored procedure called check underscore timeout. This stored procedure basically queries object tbl1 underscore check underscore timeout, and the predicate is SNO equal to 1. So let's create it. So now what I'll do is I will try creating an object called tbl1 underscore check underscore timeout. If you look at it, it is same as the one that we have created as far as the stored procedure is concerned. This particular object is used in this particular stored procedure that we have created earlier. Yeah. So now what I'll do is I will insert just one row with an begin tran just to make sure the transaction is not complete, and SPID 58 will have an exclusive lock on this particular object. So that means any other query that is going to access this object will be blocked by this particular query, just to make sure we are able to kind of reproduce an timeout scenario. Yep. So what I'll do now is I will also start an extended event session, which basically captures the attention event on the database server. So let me create that. And then once it is created, the thing that needs to be noted down is it will be creating the XEL files on C drive X events folder. So let me delete any old files, and then let me start this extended event session before the actual demo. So it is started now, and if you look at the location, the file is created. The time is 6:15 p.m. So that makes sense. Now what I'll do is I will connect. I will reconnect to this particular session and make sure the execution timeout is set to 10 seconds, just to make sure we are not waiting indefinitely. So let me connect to it. And then let me get into the context of JBS Wiki database, and then let me execute this stored procedure, and then let's wait for 10 seconds, and then let's see what happens, if what kind of message or what kind of error we will be seeing after the 10 seconds. So what I'm seeing here is as soon as I reach 10 seconds, we got an error, and this particular execution got terminated with a message execution timeout expired. So what happened is we had this blocking that is manually created, and when we executed this stored procedure, the stored procedure was trying to fetch rows from that particular object tbl1 underscore check underscore timeout. But since SPID 58 was holding and conflicting exclusive lock, this query couldn't go through. It basically was waiting for this session to complete. And what happened is since we had this connection, since we had this execution timeout set to 10, as soon as we reached 10 seconds, it basically got terminated with an execution timeout expired message. Yep. So what we'll do is in real time, when this issue happens, what we can do is if we can execute an X event that we have done here, then we can have a look on that XEL file and see which particular session got terminated and how much time did it actually took. So now I'm stopping the extended event session, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to query that particular X event file here from the C drive X events folder. So let me execute it. So what I'm seeing is the extended event is telling us there was one attention on the database server. Since it's a lab machine, we were able to see only one attention, but on a production server with a lot of query timeouts, you might see a very high value as far as attention is concerned. Now, if I look at the exact information, what I'm seeing is the time in UTC. This one is time in UTC. It basically tells us this particular query, DBO check timeout query, basically got timed out. This is the information that we are getting as far as the extended event is concerned. Moving on, if we look at this particular DMV, we can get the same information about the query timeout from DMV sys.dm underscore except underscore query starts. So here what I'm doing is like I'm checking for queries that has got max elapsed time greater than 9 seconds. So this is in microseconds. This value is in microseconds. So I'm checking for any query that got timed out that has a max elapsed time greater than 9 seconds. Okay, so let me execute this query, and what I'm seeing is like I'm able to see like there is a query that got timed out whose name is check underscore timeout, and the time it basically took is close to 9.9 seconds. It is in microseconds, so it is 9.9 seconds. So with this information, we will be able to understand like this particular stored procedure got timed out, and we can work on this further. So on a production server, we will basically have to check the application timeout value. So on most of the applications, the application timeout value would be set to 30 seconds, but it is better to check with the application team because for different application, the values will be different. So it is better we check that information. And once we get that information, we can query the database server using that value. And then we can check for all the queries that basically got timed out, and we can work on the queries that got timed out. That is something that we can definitely do. And for this particular scenario, what we are able to see is like there is a blocking going on right now. And I don't think we will be having a blocking scenario like this wherein someone would just start the transaction and will not commit. But as far as the application is concerned, depending upon the query performance, there is high possibility it might take some conflicting lock on that particular object. But in this scenario, what I understand is like you need to basically talk to your application team and see if no lock can be added to the query. And if the application is happy and they are not worried about the dirty reads, I'm pretty sure we can definitely use the no lock. But again, there is high possibility it can give you some wrong data because it is going to do a dirty reads when you use the no lock in. So in my case, I'm going to add it because dirty reads is not a big deal for me as far as my application is concerned. Now the lock is still there. I'm not committed the transaction yet. So let me execute the query one more time. And this time I'm able to complete it. We were able to resolve this command timeout issue. Again, this no lock resolution is not possible for all the application. So in this case, what we can do is like we can look at the query that is basically creating the blocking and try tuning that particular query either by adding an index or trying to change the logic and things like that. If that is not possible, then what we can do is like we can look for changing the database isolation model to snapshot isolation. But again, all these needs to be thoroughly tested on an environment that is not production. And once the testing goes on fine, that is when you guys can implement that thing in the production. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Jai Hind.